whether it is appropriate for it to be attracted or not attracted to an object within the 3D realm. The interaction between attributes and personality will be such that a personality will only be attracted to those attributes within 3D objects that will make it over time more narrow. And this is something which is very difficult for many to understand, because when I would call a conditional love an attribute, for instance, people would say it is love that opens their hearts, and the desired relationship that opens their hearts and makes them want to be a better person. This, however, is not always the case. Often these attributes will contain within themselves programmed particles, which are linear particles, which will over time create mental problems as they are consumed within the human three-dimensional system. These attributes have ruled the world for a very long time and have kept personalities in check for an even longer time, in fact. However, one must admit that particles such as attributes can also be used in a very different way, which we, as the ascended beings that have walked on this earth for a very long time now, have always done. Attributes can be loving and very beautiful when implemented and played with in the right way, and this is where alchemy, especially in a new energy realm, comes in very handy. In many of my creations that I have put out on this earth in the form of light bodies and other types of creations, I have used these attributes to generate the music that I generated. For instance, one example would be the creation of the singer that you know as Madonna, which has been shared with you before. Whenever an album would be generated and put out for the world to work with, in a way, these attributes, we would make sure that we were in the right place at the right time as we used the attributes of the space around us, effectively thereby using the matrix against itself and charging a three-dimensional object through our own creation with exactly the right programming code that would override the personality parasite that was present within old energy realms. So whereas usual 3D objects would generate exactly that which would make the personality more narrow and as such attract the personality to it, the creations that some of us, the ascended beings, have made over the years served the opposite effect, as they would generate attributes that would make a personality more wide and open-minded, thereby eventually moving it into the path of awakening and then enlightenment, and of course hopefully one day ascension. One thing that is important to remember about attributes is that an attribute stays with one throughout the lifetimes very, very often. An attribute goes immediately into the 4D energy field of the person or personality attracted to it, and as such stays not on the biological level. When the biological level of a person then ceases to exist, the fourth dimensional field travels with that energy being back into another incarnation in the matrix. And as that happens, one would one day, very early on in one's next lifetime, of course, wake up with certain talents or gifts or certain problems on a physical level or on a mental level or what have you not. These things have, as I said, dominated the human race for a very long time. The reason that we are discussing them openly now is that as tonal beings you have a completely different defense mechanism against these matrix tools, which is exactly what we will discuss in the course of this conversation. Now, to get back to the point, as attributes intermingle with personality energy, they effectively are weaving a more narrow personality energy. A personality energy exists within a vibrational field. This means that a tonal being, in effect, does not have to carry a personality energy around with it. Now, in order to understand that, it is very necessary to realize that leaving the personality energy or the personality parasite behind involves reintegrating all of these attributes. As I've said before, these attributes that exist everywhere on every object of 3D are fourth-dimensional programming nodes, the energy of which, and this is my addition in this moment, the energy of which is initially taken from you through the matrix upon birth. As has been shared before, gender has been created so that when an angelic being, which of course is genderless, comes into this earth, is immediately identified as a boy or a girl, and immediately after that 50% of the initial energy field with which the angelic being came into this realm is ripped away. This is when the baby is effectively locked into 3D. This energy that is ripped away is then modified to form the beginnings of the personality for that now angelic baby being, which is becoming more mental every second it is here. And this energy pocket which is ripped away is then sent out as fourth-dimensional attributes to overlay the earth, the complete third-dimensional realm, with the being's own energy. This is the only way that it would be possible for any personality to find something separate from itself, either desirable or not. So this is how the system worked. So even though, beloved Imzaya, you have now moved into a tonal existence, it is important to realize that part of your energy is still out there in personality driven form called attributes, and it is going to be your job to re-internalize all of these attributes back inside of you. This is a little bit different than what Tobias has discussed, and I myself through the Shambra Collective have discussed in past times as aspects. These attributes are not the same thing. Aspects, of course, are unfulfilled parts of you, of your psyche, that eventually become separate beings of mental energy as they try to fulfill themselves with that which makes them unfulfilled, which creates quite a loop, as you understand. Attributes are not that aware. They are not conscious beings that are parts of you that are trapped in a field of linear energy. They are simply building blocks, compressed energy blocks, part of you that are overlaying all these other blocks. So it is not about reintegrating anything on a psychological level here. What it truly is about is simply reclaiming this reality as your own, which is why it is in these times that we sit in right now so important for you to master this third dimensional reality. Not in the old way, not the way you have done it in the past, but in a very new way indeed, in a way of free, a new energy not connected to anything that was once your mental past, but as a reborn lifetime, a top life on this earth in the same body that started this journey, which once inhabited a personality. In this land that you now live in as a tonal being, it is of the utmost importance to reclaim these attributes as your own. They will be your initial new energy field